Here we are. Welcome to Let's Rap. I'm your host, Mark Gray. The man to the right of me needs no introduction. This is Maryland Homecoming, and it's my pleasure to be joined with arguably the greatest Terp basketball player ever. 16-year NBA vet. Was it 1994 Player of the Year or 95? 95 National Player of the Year. Joe Smith. Welcome, Joe Smith.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here, Mark.
Been a pleasure. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but in a wild way, like, you were actually the reason I even wanted to go to Maryland. You know, as kids, we have dumb reasons for why we like sports, like really dumb reasons that make no sense whatsoever. But in NCAA '94, you were the only dude on the game who could break the backboard. So it was like, that was the coolest thing in the world.
I used to play that like every day.
Right, and then so they were my favorite player then till '96, and Allen Iverson's in Georgetown. I come up from Florida to go to a Georgetown visit. Now I'm all in love with Allen Iverson. I want to go to Georgetown, right? I go visit Georgetown, and I just wasn't feeling it. As soon as I went through those gates at Maryland, and you come up on the M, I was like, I want to go here. I want to go here. But my interest all sparked from you, and
I appreciate that.
And that's 1994. And now here we come, 25 years. 25 years later, here we are sitting down in my basement doing a show together, man. That's just awesome. So I'll start by saying I appreciate you, man. Let's go right into, where does the Joe Smith story start as a skinny kid coming out of Virginia, finding your way into Maryland?
That's exactly how it started. Young skinny kid. When I was young, I used to play football and basketball. Then I had a crazy growth spurt, like 5 inches in one summer. So
what year? Like, how old were you?
I was going into my freshman year in high school.
And you went from what to what?
I went from like 6'1", 6'2" to about 6'6", 6'7". Okay. Yeah, and over the summer, and I came back and my mom. She was like, "Now you know you gotta leave that football alone." Now.
right.
I don't want you to get out there and get broke up, because I was a little skinny kid. But I stuck with the basketball. Just started working on my game. Nobody really knew who I was. Speaking of Allen Iverson, we played AAU growing up together, so we was always teammates. I was learning a lot from him, picking up stuff for the game from him, and just trying to mature my game, develop my game as much as I could. I was a clumsy little kid,
When did you realize there was something special there? Like, this could be NBA level talent?
When I got to Maryland, that's when I realized.
Oh, yeah. Even before that?
Yeah, before that. I'm telling you, I wasn't even ranked. Coming out of high school, I was ranked about 150th or something like that. I wasn't even ranked in the top 100 coming out of high school. And you had Rashid and Jerry Stackhouse and all those guys, ranked in the top 10, top 15, ranked above. So nobody really knew who I was. Nobody. Even when I came on my visit here to Maryland, nobody knew who I was. It was, all about Keith Booth, and because we were the same class, so nobody really knew who I was. I came back up for the Capital Classic, destroyed it, and that's when the buzz started. The buzz started ringing, like, we might have something special coming here with this kid.
Did you always want to go to Maryland, or?
No, I grew up a Carolina fan. I grew up a Carolina fan, yeah. I hated Duke, but I grew up a Carolina fan. But as my years went on, Carolina did recruitment. That really upset me when I made my decision to come here to Maryland. So I really wanted to put it on them when we got here. But I grew up a Carolina fan. Maryland came along. They recruited me the hardest. There was a young team, had a young recruiting class come in the year before we did, with three freshmen that started. Mm-hmm. And myself and Keith Booth had already committed, and I was the last one. So I was like, this team might be trying to do something special.
Now, when your rookie year, you came in and took the ACC by storm, averaged 20 points a game. I think you were second in the ACC in scoring, and this is back when the ACC was real ACC.
Was tough, right?
Was real tough. Yeah, I was looking at the your sophomore year, the All ACC team. You know who was on that team? First team All ACC.
All ACC was
Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, yourself, Tim Duncan, and the Wake Forest guy, Childress.
Oh wow, Randolph.
Right. So that's essentially 4 or 5 of the best college players in ACC history right there. You know what I mean? Like that. So that just lets you know how competitive that ACC was. And you led the league in points, second to Tim Duncan in rebounds, and second to Tim Duncan in blocks. Not a bad guy to be second to.
Not at all. And the thing about it, every night with the names you just named, and Jerry Stackhouse and Rasheed didn't even play much our freshman year, and that's how stacked North Carolina was, So, and then Duke was the same way. Duke had Grant Hill still, and you know, every night Virginia had
Junior
Junior Burroughs and Corey Alexander,
Right.
you know. So every night it was a tough battle, and I think that year we ended up in almost a 4-way tie for first place.
The second year, your sophomore year, it was 12-4, 4-way tie.
That was
12,
okay.
yeah, 12,
Okay.
12-4. Maryland. Just talk about your time in Maryland and your growth in your game in Maryland.
Right. I mean, it started from day one. I mean, they put me in the weight room right away. Obviously, you know, that was something that we wanted to work on, my strength, to get stronger from day one. I got in the weight room with our football strength and conditioning coach, and from then on, he just put me to work, and you know, I would say we used to play pickup games in the summer, and that's when, you know, I started feeling a difference in my game. Started feeling like I can dominate a little bit when I'm on right now, but eventually I want to be able to dominate this thing, you know, all the way through. So I mean, I started kept working on my game, and I wanted to do something different that other bigs wasn't doing. And that was start playing the facing up the basket, knocking down jumpers and doing things like that. And that's when I started developing that type of game.
With the ACC being so tough back then, with it being college D1, these are all NBA players, McDonald's guys, these are guys that you see. Were you surprised with the success you had so early?
Very surprised.
Okay.
I was shocked. I can't even lie, I was shocked.
You were shocked?
Yeah, I was shocked, because like I said, I mean, I wasn't ranked high, one of those highly ranked players coming out of high school, and nobody really knew what to expect. I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew I had some talent, I knew what the ACC was about, but I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, we went down to media day before the season opened, and I think this would really fuel my fire, is when we went down to media day and we have everybody from all the different teams, and you know, we have all the media around, and you know, they're asking questions and they're doing their predictions and all types of stuff. And my freshman year, we were predicted dead last in the ACC, and myself, I think it was myself, Keith Boo, Johnny and X Reed, we were all down there, and we came back. We told all the fellas what they had us predicted as, and you know, that kind of fed the fuel to our fire. You know what I'm saying? From there on, our focus and everything just changed, and we wanted to prove a point to everybody.
When did you realize, I've done enough here, it's time for me to go to the league?
When me and Gary sat down and had a talk, like right after my sophomore year, Gary and I, we sat down and talked.
So what about going into your sophomore year? Was that even on your radar or
no?
Not even at all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know they had me, I think, predicted top 10 after my freshman year.
Okay.
But that was, you know, that wasn't even still on my radar. I still felt I needed to develop a little bit more. So after my sophomore year, after playing my sophomore year, Coach Wills and I, we sat down in his office, and you know, he pretty much told me, like, if you come back, I'm gonna hurt you myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised, because I always thought, I know Gary loves some 4-year players.
Yeah.
Like, that's his thing.
Yeah.
I know he loves, and at times I felt like I've witnessed him hold players back because he wanted them to stay.
Yeah.
So I'm actually surprised to hear that. So he told you.
He told me, if I
go ahead and
come
get
back,
out of
he
here.
would hurt me himself. Yeah.
He told you, go ahead and get out of here.
He knew I was kind of fighting with the situation after, you know, the last game of the season. I mean, last home game at Cole Fieldhouse, and I got all these in the student section. They got all these "Don't Go Joe" signs and all types of stuff. And he saw how emotional I got after that, so he knew it was a decision that I was kind of, you know, battling back and forth with. So he kind of eased the pain and kind of, you know.
Now going into the draft, it was a consensus that you were the best player in the country, with names like Kevin Garnett,
Right.
Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, Michael Finley,
Antonio McDyess. Yeah.
Just a draft full of talent.
Yeah.
A draft full of talent, and you're the number 1 player in the country. How does that make you feel, knowing that you're going number 1?
I mean, that took a lot of relief off, you know, because like I said, just going from not being ranked as one of the best players in the country in high school to 2 years later you the number 1 pick. Like,
Did it feel
who
unreal?
does that? Yeah, it did. Like, who does that? Like,
Right.
what is
2
that?
years ago, nobody knew who
I was. And then my freshman year, I made a little mark. My sophomore year, I, you know, became the player of the year in the country. Like, what? Who?
You never
So
expected
yeah, I
that.
never expected that at all. So I mean, it was a big surprise for myself, and being the number 1 pick was just the icing on the cake, you know.
Now let me ask you this: coming as a Maryland student, we had a player, I guess about 10 years before, who was the 3rd pick in the draft in Len Bias. With your success, known coming out number 1, what did that play in your head? Like, what did that make you think? Were you extra cautious? Did you feel like you know, I can't mess this up. You know what I mean?
I mean,
did you feel like there was a Len Bias ghost hanging over you?
Not really, cause my upbringing was a little bit different. My mom, she was strict, but she was lovable, you know, with her strictness, and then she made sure, you know, I stayed on the straight and narrow, no matter what, and that's why even my rookie year in the league, she came to Golden State and lived with me my whole rookie year, because, you know, she knows what can happen, the possibilities, and what, you know, the things that people can get mixed up into. But going back to Lenny, man, when I was here, man, that's all I watched. I mean, I coached in the basketball office. We had so many Len Bias tapes, and, you know, that's all I watched when I was here. And so I wanted to kind of take his legacy and take it with me to the league, you know, kind of, instead of, you know, keeping it where everybody's always talking about one thing. Like when they talk about Joe Smith, and when they talk about Joe Smith and Len Bias, I wanted them to be able to talk about, we both was dominant players at the University of Maryland, and we both, I mean, I had a pretty good NBA career, but he could have had a hell of an NBA
right,
career.
Absolutely. So now when you get to the NBA, you start off, you finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting behind, was at Damon Stoudemire and Sabonis, who at that point was probably like, what, 30-something?
45, I think.
Yeah, but he was nice.
Yeah,
he was nice with
that's
his
why
passes.
I couldn't even take nothing away from that. Yeah,
he was. Imagine if he had came here with anything left in his knees.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I would love to see.
I mean, I saw some younger footage actually of Sabonis when I was playing, and when he was slimmer, when he was young, and he was very athletic, like taking off, dunking down in the lane. He was able to pass, and I mean, he was a great player.
No, he absolutely was. I would have loved to see him in his prime here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And you start off with, I think, about 15-7, 15-8. Rookie year, you surprised by how easy that transition was for you? You come into a veteran team. There's already Tim Hardaway there, Chris Mullin,
Latrell Sprewell. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it. We had so many veterans on that team. It took a lot of pressure off me.
But what about being like this? You were the second leading scorer on the team with those guys who are already all-stars and on their way to future Hall of Fame careers in Chris Mullin's case.
And the thing about it, I mean, they fed me.
Really?
Yeah. Like they knew that, you know, I could put the ball in the hole. They knew that I could score from anywhere on the floor. They fed me. Coach ran plays through me. Coach ran.
No animosity?
None whatsoever. I mean, they understood I was, you know, they was older in their careers, you know, so they understood that I was a young draft pick, a young talent coming in. So, you know, they kind of, you know, took the back seat a little bit. They, you know, still, you know, played their games, but, you know, they took the back seat a little bit and let me do my thing a little bit. So, I mean, that helped me out a lot, confidence-wise.
Was there anybody on that Golden State team who took you under their wing and taught you how to be an NBA player?
Actually, Sprewell did.
Really?
Yeah. When I first got there, Latrell Sprewell, like, we were like this.
Really?
Like, yeah, when I first got there, he took me under his wing, and you know, we just, you know, showed me the ropes of what it takes to be a good NBA player, to, you know, to be successful, to prepare yourself for game and year. You know, he was one of those types of dudes that worked hard, worked out every day, and worked on his game all the time. Like ridiculous with it.
He was a real star, especially back then. And then your second year, you go all the way up to almost 19 points a game, lead the team in rebounding. And, you know, just your second year, Sprewell's, I think, at like almost 25 points a game. And things look like they're heading in the right direction for you guys. And then a year later, I guess the Sprewell choking incident happened. You were at practice there when that happened?
Oh, yeah, I was at practice there.
Did you see that coming? I mean, what? It's one of those things I wish I could have got there quicker.
Yeah, nobody saw it coming. Like, it happened so quick, nobody really saw it coming. Like, it was one of those issues where it was just, this pop, it happened. The next thing you know,
afterwards, what's the reaction like? Yo, this dude just choked the shit out of Coach.
I mean, it was. I can actually say it was blame on both parts.
Yeah.
Like it was.
But I'd imagine none of you would ever see anything like that.
Nobody. Yeah, that's true.
So are you all just sitting there like, what the hell just happened?
Like we are. And the thing about it, like we sitting there. Right after it happens, we sitting there. We're like, what the fuck? Or what just happened? You know, what the world just happened? And Coach goes one way, Spree goes one way, they get Spree out of the building, whatever. And all of a sudden, Coach comes back in, blows the whistle, we start back practicing. Like, we still trying to figure out what is going on.
So Coach was calm? PJ was calm?
PJ comes back in, after everything goes down, blows the whistle, we go right back to start practicing, right back to the drills.
So at this point, are you thinking maybe we can keep this all in-house and nobody finds out about it?
At that point, that's what we were thinking.
Right.
But, I mean, the way things were taking place. I mean, the way he looked around his neighborhood.
So how did the story end up even getting out there back then?
I can't recall exactly how it got out, but I think the media immediately got a hold of it. Like right after practice, I think that's when it started. I don't know who released it. I don't know who said what, but I think right after that practice, when the media comes in after practice, I think that's when it
what did it do to you guys as a team?
It destroyed us, separated us. I mean, because it was like it almost made us divide sides. You know, who was on Spree's side, who was on the coach side. You know, it was like one
People
of those
on
type of
coach's
things.
side?
He had a couple of players on his side, yeah. He had a few players on his side. You know, the coach is obviously on his side, but he had a few players on his side. But it was one of those things that it didn't just happen that day.
Right,
it was one of those things that built up. Like Spree was killing that year. Spree had it happened so early in the season. I think maybe 6 or 7 games in, yeah. And Spree he had to be. Like,
he was averaging like almost 30 or something crazy like that.
I want to say it was close to 40.
Okay, he was killing.
Yeah,
right.
Because I think we played Minnesota. He had 45. Like the first 3 games or so, he had like over 40, and he was killing and he was balling. And next thing you know, this happened. So
coach just kept riding him.
Yeah, coach kept. He just stayed on him, in practice and everything. Just stayed on him every day. And I'm like, and he talking to me because like I said, we're tight. Right. So he's like, why is he on? What's going on? I said, I'm working my A off. I'm busting my butt every day. And he see why he always on me. So one day it just couldn't, yeah, he just got fed up with it.
Did that play a part in you wanting to get out of there?
That played a big part in it, yeah.
Because I know because then in your
that was at the end of my rookie deal.
Right. So you told him that you weren't coming back and trading.
That part, yeah. So that
played a part in that.
Yeah, that played a big part of it. That played a big because we had no.
The place was going on.
We were. Yeah, exactly. And we had no direction or anything at that point from then on. So, and I think the best thing was for me to get up out of there.
So then you get traded to Philadelphia. Now this is where things get kind of fuzzy for me. So I'm gonna need you to fill. Like I look at your numbers and I'm trying to figure out. You're 22 years old. Mm-hmm. You just finished averaging 18 and 10. You're in your prime of your career. You're #1 draft pick. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden you're down to like 20 minutes a game when you go to Philadelphia. Right. And I saw there's a Derek Coleman. Right. He looked like a 30-something-year-old Derek Coleman. Right. Clarence Weatherspoon. Right. I think Theo Rattler. Why are you not getting on the floor? On a bad Sixers team at that.
And that's the tough thing about being, like, at that time, being traded. Because once a team and have their starters and have their system in place, like they traded, I believe it was Jim Jackson.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other player. But myself and Brian Shaw. And so Jim Jackson, I don't think he was really in the fold. So it was almost like me just filling Jim Jackson's place. And when I got there, I mean, I knew it was AI's team. Right. I knew I would probably come off the bench at the beginning because of DC, playing the same position. He was playing the 4, Theo Rattler was at the 5, but I didn't expect to play 20 minutes a game.
Wouldn't you? I would have thought you and Chuck already had a good relationship and everything.
Oh, we did, definitely.
Right.
Definitely. He had no say so in the minutes. Like if it was up to him, I would get on the floor.
I mean, he was 22, you were 22.
Right.
He was the #1 pick. What, a year after you?
Next year, the following year, yeah.
So I'm thinking like they should be letting y'all go, especially on a team that's not winning games.
Wasn't winning exactly. And then when I got in, I was productive.
Right.
So it's not like
So what was that like going from being in Golden State, being the man, or being groomed to be the man, to here you are 6-7 man on the bench? Like
that's a tough adjustment.
That was your first time.
Yeah, that's a very first
getting that
time.
bench in your life.
Yeah, exactly. So. So
what is that like mentally? What do you think?
I mean, mentally, it takes you out of the game a little bit. I mean, mentally it takes you because you know what you can bring to the table. You know what you've been doing on his other team, and you get traded. You think you're going to play. You think you're going to get some good minutes, quality time, and all of a sudden, all that time you was getting is not just cut in half, but more over half. And it wasn't. And you're still being productive and you're still being professional as you go through it, but. Mentally, it takes its toll on you.
Do you say anything, or are you just trying to fit in?
I mean, just trying. I got traded, trade deadline, so I only had like 2 months there left in the season. So I mean, you just try to keep your mouth shut and just try to fit in and find a way where you can actually get some minutes on the floor.
Okay, then the next stop after Philadelphia is
Minnesota.
That's where you go to Minnesota.
Right.
Is the first deal the one that you got in trouble with, or you were already there first and then try to re-up?
No, I was there 3 years, and at the end of I was there 2 years already, and at the end of my 3rd year is when all that deal stuff happened behind the door, closed door.
What do you think about that?
Oh man, that
changed your whole career?
That changed me.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, because I mean, you know, you put your trust in a lot of people, you know, so I put my trust in my agents, and you know, and that they, you know, would have my best interest in heart. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, with that deal and how everything went down, which was behind my back, and I had no idea what was going on, and then everything falls on my shoulders at the end of the day, and I have to make all these types of decisions, and all these people looking at me the wrong way, and it changed me as a person, made me see people in a different light to a certain extent.
I could imagine. I guess that changed your career basically.
It did.
Changed your point of view.
I had to, obviously, had to leave Minnesota, which I didn't want to do. I had to leave Minnesota, go play a year in Detroit, or if I wanted to stay in Minnesota, I would have to sit out a whole season. Yeah, so I obviously chose to go play somewhere else for a year and then come back. But yeah, I just, you know, went to play in Detroit, which we struggled. We you know what I'm saying, we had a bad team there. Came back to Minnesota. And
what was it about Minnesota that you liked? Because I've never heard anybody say it like that.
The team, I mean, we had a great team. We had
Garnett,
good chemistry.
Who was that? Garnett and was that Brandon?
Yeah,
Terrell
Brandon, our point guard. Yeah, Wally Zerbiak. KG was playing at 3. I was at the 4. Then we had Dean Garrett at the 5. Coming off the bench, Anthony Peeler, Malik Sealy.
Right.
Man, we were deep. We had a good team, and everybody was cool. And everybody played hard, and everybody liked each other. You know what I'm saying? So that was rare in the NBA. And
what was that like playing with Kevin Garnett?
Oh, that's my guy. That's my guy. I mean, from practice to the game, that's what you get. You know what I'm saying? You see what you get. What you see is what you get. And, you know, that's a dude that brings it every day. And a lot of people think, you know, that, you know, he's kind of flamboyant with the way he talks and how his actions, but that's the way he gets that's his energy. You know, that's the way he gets himself going, and that's the way, you know, he motivates himself. So I mean, you know, I see that, and you know, you kind of feed off of it as a teammate.
To see a guy that tall with that skill set, putting the ball on the floor, dribble, driving. The first time you saw that, what were you thinking? I mean, being that you guys are similar builds, I guess he's probably a little bit taller than you or whatever. Yeah. but I mean, are you just like in awe, like, you know what I mean? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've seen, you know, footage of Kevin, and actually before the season, before our rookie year, we were supposed to do a one-on-one competition in Atlantic City, but I mean, it was amazing to see him play, and then to see him be able to put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, attack the basket. Only thing I can say I showed him is the turnaround jumper.
Really?
yeah, that turnaround jumper that he started shooting. You know, that's what I kind of helped him develop that. So, I mean, but other than that, I mean, he was a hell of a talent. You know what I'm saying? And once he get that shot up, there's not too many people that can get to it because of his size and his length, though. So, but he's a great ball player.
Absolutely. And then after that, so you say you go to Detroit, then back to Minnesota, and then you start where'd you go after that?
Milwaukee. Yeah, I got traded by Sprewell and Sam Cassell. Sam Cassell was in Milwaukee. It was like a 3-way trade.
Right.
Yeah, and ended up in Milwaukee for 3 years.
So now after that, you just here, there, everywhere. What's that like mentally? Are you just happy to be in the NBA, or are you just like, I'm tired of getting traded? Like,
no, I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it like tired of being traded or tired of being, you know, moved around or anything like that. No. I mean, at the end of the day, you just learn how to appreciate, you know, what you're going through, one way or another. You know what I'm saying? It's you're glad to still have a job in the NBA, but you're not just happy to be there. You still want to be able to improve yourself, improve a point to people, and you know, and going from Minnesota to Milwaukee, I still was able to do that because in Milwaukee we had a alright, decent team, but we weren't projected to win anything, and we, you know, went to the playoffs 2 years in a row. So I was still able to do that, and the numbers might not have been up there, but I was a starter, I was being productive, and I was in a big role out there. So, I mean, that allowed me to, you know, get that love of the game back a little bit.
At any point in time, are you like, at any one of these trades, you're like, why does this keep happening to me?
No, because all of them weren't trades. Like, some of them were free agency, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would say a little more than half was trade, but the others was free agency. So I wasn't, you know, when I left Philadelphia to Minnesota, I was a free agent. Then from Minnesota to Detroit, they made me a free agent. So I was a free agent then. Then from Detroit back to Minnesota, I was a free agent. So I mean, all these are not trades. It's free agent decisions and stuff like that with it mixed in with it too. So that's why it really didn't weigh on my shoulders and weigh on me like that.
Okay. Your whole time when you get to the league, is there one player that you were looking forward to playing against?
Magic.
Magic.
Yeah.
Did you ever play against Magic?
Yeah, he came back. When I was with the Warriors. After his retirement, his very first game back was against us.
Okay.
And that was like, oh man.
I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that. Was it anybody?
Because I grew up a Magic fan, man. I was a Lakers fan, huge Lakers fan. I grew up loving Magic, man. Big point guard, big guy, handling the ball, and able to do the things that he did with the being his size, So I grew up a Magic fan, and right before I got to Maryland, or right before I got drafted, that's when he retired. Because of the
virus.
Yeah, the virus. And my second year in the league, when I was with the Warriors, is when he came back. He had his comeback, and it was against us. First game was against us, and man, it was that right there was probably one of the best moments in my NBA career. Seeing him. Actually, we were in LA, and he didn't start, so he came off the bench that game, and Eldon Campbell was starting, and he was playing at 4, so I would have had to guard him. So that even made it even more special,
Right.
So I mean, he came off. Somebody gets fouled. Lakers at the free throw line, and all of a sudden you just hear this rumbling around the ring. Just building up. And that's him coming off the bench. He's coming off, check in. I look over to the sideline and I see it. Everybody's going crazy. I start getting chills in my arms, man. Cause that's how big of a fan I was. You know what I'm saying? So I started getting chills in my arms. I'm like, man, this is the moment right here.
And then what happened?
And I mean, we went at it. We had a good game. Yeah. So I mean, it was a good game. I think I ended up with 23 and 9 and 10 or something like that game or something like that. Yeah.
What about Mike? What about the first time you played Mike?
I didn't have that same.
Really?
Yeah, that same feeling. I mean, I trust me.
You look over and be like, that's Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I did that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But I didn't have that same feeling because I liked Mike, but I was a huge Magic fan. You know what I'm saying? I love Magic. If you ask me who's better between Mike and Magic, I'm gonna tell you Magic.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Throughout your whole rookie year, isn't there a certain target that comes on your back with being the number 1 overall pick?
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
And so you feel like every night those guys are coming at you, especially somebody else in your draft class, whether it be a Rasheed Wallace or, like you said, McDyess or whatever the case may be. So how did that play out during your rookie year with all these guys coming at you with this target on your back?
It's not even more of the guys that you came in with. It's more the guys that's already there.
Mm-hmm. Want to show you.
Yeah, exactly. They want to prove that they want to give you that welcome to the NBA moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like the guys that come, they're feeling the same way I'm feeling coming in. They nervous. They got their nerves under them and everything. But it's the guys that have been around, for a few years that don't want a young guy to come in and set the tone.
Do you have a welcome to the NBA moment? Is there a certain player?
My very first game was a welcome to.
What happened in your first game?
My very first game, we played the Houston Rockets, and it's ring night for them. They had just won the championship the year before.
Right, so that's Olajuwon. And is that the first ring or the second ring?
I think the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, the second ring.
So Klein.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we come out, I had to do jump ball, and I'm doing jump ball against Olajuwon. Yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I can out-jump him. Man, the referee throws the ball up. I get an elbow right to my nose. Boom! And he go up. And like for 10, 15 minutes, I can't see nothing in the game. My eyes watery. I can't see nothing. I'm done. I'm running up and down the court just trying to wipe my eyes. And they just, oh man.
He say anything to you?
Huh?
He say anything to you?
Charles Barkley did.
What did Charles say?
Welcome to the NBA.
Your first NBA game was against Hakeem Olajuwon?
Yes, and I had to guard Charles Barkley. Yep.
That's definitely a welcome to the. And what was that like guarding Olajuwon? Or did you not get? You were mostly on. Barkley?
Mostly on Barkley. Yeah. Only time I got on Olajuwon if it was a switch or something, but that didn't happen too often. But I mean, even when it did, it was like, just try to hold your ground. You know what I'm saying? Just try to do whatever you can to hold your ground and don't make it easy for them. That's all. That was all I could do.
The first person to basically give you your lunch in the NBA, like just work you out, just like
Shawn Kemp.
Shawn Kemp.
Yeah.
What Shawn Kemp was that? Was that Seattle Shawn Kemp?
Yeah,
okay.
Man. That was young Shawn Kemp.
Yeah, Gary Payton and all
that. When he was still the monster. He was Shawn. Yeah. when in Seattle. I can't remember the numbers, but that was the very first time I felt like somebody really put it on me. You know what I'm saying?
Did you circle the next time you played him, like you got to get back against him?
I ain't circled it, but I was ready for it the next time.
And what happened the next time?
I mean, it was pretty even then.
Okay.
Yeah, but the first time I didn't know what to expect. You know, he's athletic, strong, and I've never seen nobody like that. Runs the floor like he did. Gary went like one time. I swear, we running back on defense, and Gary throws it from the other side of the court, alley-oop. And I'm running back, and it looks like the ball is about to go way into like the Raptors, like way out of bounds. And I'm about to stop on breaks. And next thing you know, you just see this guy just come out of nowhere. And I'm like, man, what
boy could fly, right?
is this?
that boy could
Yes.
definitely fly, man.
Yes, I mean he was the first person to ever do that, and had me feel like, I got work to do.
He said, now later in your career, so when you look at, so then there's the Cleveland League years, and you're playing with LeBron.
Right.
What's that like being one of the Kings men, as they would call it?
I love playing with LeBron. I mean, it's almost like playing with KG. Like they for their status and for their recognition, they're like the most unselfish go-to guys that you can ever play alongside of. You know what I mean? Like if teams are going to take them out of the game, they're going to have confidence that you can knock down some shots, that you can kind of carry the load a little bit if that's the case. And that's why I like playing with both of those guys. I mean, both of those guys, they're not afraid to pass the ball. If you're open, they're not afraid to get everybody involved. And then they're not afraid to take over the game when need be. So
when you got there, when you played with LeBron, what year was he in?
Shoot, he was
roughly. You had been there for a while.
I want to say maybe 4th or 5th year or something like that.
So here's my question: with him having his status where he is,
right?
But you being a vet and already being a number 1 overall pick, is there any point of that where you're kind of mentoring him, or not at all?
Not really.
Never.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I mean it's. I don't think at that point nobody was really mentoring anyone at that point. Excuse me. After you get a few years in, the most important people that probably need mentoring is probably the rookies and the second year guys. So at that point, we're not really mentoring each other. But if we see something, that might benefit the other guy, we definitely tell them, or definitely give them a heads up about it. But the younger guys are really the ones that really we do more the mentoring with.
Okay. And you said Sprewell was the one who took you under.
Took me under, yep.
Was there any rookies that you remember taking under? And
oh man, I took on a few rookies. One rookie was when I was in Minnesota, Lauren Woods. I don't know if he went to Arizona.
Big, tall center.
Yeah,
7
exactly.
footer.
Yep, 7-footer. Yeah, he came in and
skinny.
Yeah, he really didn't know what to expect when he came in, and he had a little bit of hard time, trying to figure things out, trying to pick up on things. So he was one guy that I took under my wing. Every team pretty much I probably almost took as I got older.
Yeah.
Almost took somebody under my wing and tried to help develop them. Even guys that didn't play much, that wasn't even on the 10-man in the playing action. You know what I'm saying? Even guys like that I took under my wing and was able to kind of keep them motivated and keep them into the game.
Then at the end, is the last team you played for was the Lakers?
Yeah.
Which is now you're saying that you grew up a Lakers fan.
Right.
Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like?
Kobe's. From what, the thing is, I had a chance to play with the Lakers early in my career, and I didn't want to do it because of what people would say about Kobe.
Really?
Yeah, what people would say about Kobe.
What was his reputation? What was it? Just that he just was. You couldn't work with him?
You get this stuff that he's a bad teammate, and he's, he does this and that behind teammates, and you really don't want to feed it to none of that. But when you hear it a lot, you don't want to be a part of it either. So, but when I got there, it was totally opposite.
Really?
Totally opposite, man. Kobe
could that been that it was just different parts of his career?
That's what I was thinking. It could be that too. But it was totally opposite, man. He was one of the coolest guys. Mingled and talked to everybody, interacted with everybody, laughed and joked with us on the plane, and it was like total opposite.
But I wonder if that was just later Kobe,
Right,
like learning
right.
from
From-
that,
right.
Because I mean, it might have been true with it might have
Right.
been 100% false too. Might have been
Right,
all, but it might have been
that's
false
what
too.
I don't know. So and then, but I mean, it was obviously if you got enough people saying stuff about the situation, there's some truth to it. You know what I'm saying? So it probably wasn't like you said, some truth to it. But when I got there, I said probably lessons learned, got older, more mature now. So probably lessons a little bit different.
Compare their three mindsets: Garnett, Kobe, and LeBron. Like, where are they similar and where are they completely opposite?
Similarities is, I would say probably the ability the will not to lose. Like especially with KG and Kobe,
Their intensity strikes me as
exactly. That's what I mean. And their intensity and because they don't want to lose, they hate losing. And I mean, LeBron's the same way, but he just shows it a different way. And the opposite,
where they would be different.
Is
Well,
just their approach to the game. I think I mean they all study the game to the fullest, but I think just how their mentality and their approach to the game, I would say Kobe just had the mentality that he's the greatest, so there's nobody that can stop him. KG at times he still felt he had things to prove, and the same with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I think they still, because all the negativity and the stuff that they can't do this, they haven't done this. He only won because of this. He only won because of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think they always carry a chip on their shoulder that they got to prove something.
And so Kobe, you said he just felt
he had to prove nothing. It was proven that he was just the greatest. When I step on the court, ain't nobody out there better than me.
What's Kobe Bryant like the day after a loss? Is he any more unbearable than anybody else?
No, not at the point of the career when I saw him. Yeah, I mean everybody's upset after the loss, But I mean it was. I think KG's probably more upset when I played with him than when I played with Kobe after a loss. Like we come into practice the next day and it's a game practice almost with KG. Like when we go and do our scrimmaging and stuff like that, it's like it's intense.
How much those years when KG, all we kept hearing about was him not making it out the first round? How much do you think that weighed on him?
I mean, that weighed a lot on all of us because I was part of that too.
Yeah,
So.
but it falls on KG. KG
Right.
never made it out the front. KG, that's all he ever
said. That's why I said he's always felt like he had to prove something, and I don't think he really took it to heart like that, but because he knew that every year we were winning over 50 games, so it's not like we were a bad team. We just ran. One year we ran into the Spurs, who ended up winning it all. Next year we run into the Lakers, who ended up winning it all. So it's not like we were getting. Exactly. It's not like we was losing. Yeah, we was losing to teams that didn't go on and win it all. We were losing to teams that would go on and win it all.
Yeah. No, I think majority of the time you're losing to a team that was a better team than you.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, it wasn't like we weren't trying or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that kind of weighed on them because every year we run into some monster teams that we're actually giving good runs in the playoffs, but yeah, we just can't get over that hump because we might be a man short or something like that. But I mean, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't nobody that was their fault. We just ran into, like you say, some better teams at that time.
What age or what point of your career were you the best? Were you like that was the best Joe Smith?
I would say probably my second year in the league.
Golden State.
Yeah, my second year in the league before everything started to trickle down. I mean, I felt I was playing the best basketball on both ends of the floor. Like I said, the offense was running through me, and I think that year we were one game out of the playoffs. So I mean, it was things were going in the right direction. And then the following year, we changed coaches, and next thing you know, everything just goes downhill. But I mean, I think my second year was probably the best.
So you come in, so obviously at Maryland, you're the man. Golden State, they agree with you to be the man. Second half of your career, you turn into not the man,
right?
One of the pieces,
right?
What is that? Is that mentally? Did that do anything to you, or not a problem at all?
Not a problem. I mean, because some of the teams I was going to, like Minnesota, when I went to Philly, it was AI's team. Minnesota was KG's team, LeBron's team, Kobe's team.
Easy
So
to take back seats.
exactly. So I mean, my thing was to accept my role and play it to the best I can play it, and that's why I stuck around for 16 years.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to do that.
I've had this argument many times. I don't think people realize how deep the power forward position was in your era,
Right.
especially in the Western Conference.
I was thinking about it like last week. I swear, I'm like, man, we had a gang of power
I mean,
forwards.
whoever you say was the 15th best power forward was nice.
Yep.
15th best power might have been like Antonio McDyess or something.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
When you think
That's
about KG, Duncan,
Yep.
Weber,
Yep.
Rasheed Wallace,
Karl Malone.
Yep.
Yep.
Like
Sean Kemp.
Sean Campbell.
Yeah. Every team had
Barkley.
Yep.
Every team. Dirk Nowitzki.
Eldon Campbell, Dirk. Yeah. Every team.
The 4 spot was just so loaded.
Yes.
It was so loaded, and then came Melo, and then it just kept getting. Like I said, guys, like people don't even remember Antonio McDyess.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I had to bring his name up.
You know what I mean?
They always overlook him when they talk about the draft, and I always got to remind people, like, y'all know Antonio McDyess was
a bad. Yes,
yes.
it was. And Shareef Abdul, right?
Yep, exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Then Shareef came and he played the 4 too, so the 4 position was tough at that time.
It definitely was. I always feel so. Who would you say the top 5 of that era was then? Power forwards.
Power forward. Jesus Christ.
It's KG.
Jesus.
So you're thinking KG, Dirk.
Yeah.
KG, Dirk.
Tim.
I'm having to start there. Tim, KG, Dirk, C Webb. I always feel like C Webb doesn't get the respect.
He doesn't. Yep. He doesn't either.
He doesn't, right? Like that.
He doesn't. Nope.
In this day and age, he was put back then. With he was the same. He was putting the ball on the floor, coast to coast, and doing all
passing that thing.
Yeah. Doing all of that.
Shooting,
elbow jumper, all of that.
Exactly.
And was athletic and was doing all that. Nobody mentions him.
And even when he got hurt, he was still able to be effective with his game because he was able to do all those different things.
He could still elbow jumper you to
right,
all the way
exactly.
to 20 to 10. 20 and 10 without even a liver cartilage in his knees. Couldn't even get off the ground and still give you 20 and 10.
Exactly. That's what people don't understand. They don't realize that. Like we had some great power forwards at that time, man. And it was every night it was and it reminded me a lot of the ACC. In the Western Conference, because every night you're playing up against some of the best power forwards. Even coming off the bench, sometimes you got some good power forwards that weren't starting coming off the bench and playing well. So I mean, it was
and that's just a testament within that era, and you still were able to put together 16 years.
Right.
16 years. Right. So when you look back at all your basketball accomplishments, what's the one you're most proud of? There's 16 that you played 16 years. That you're the #1 overall pick. National Player of the Year.
That's the one.
National Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's the one. Because that one shocked me.
Right.
Because I mean, it happened so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go from nobody to somebody no one knows to freshman of the year to college player of the year, and it was like even when I won freshman of the year, it shocked me. It shocked me, and then to come back and win the college player of the year, that just put the extra on the shock,
Right.
Like I never saw that coming whatsoever.
I'd be a fool if I didn't sit here and talk Maryland basketball with you as, like I said, one of the greatest Terps that ever lived. Me and you have talked several times off camera about the Terps.
Right.
Where do you just think of the arc? I guess maybe since you've been there. Then we win the national championship, and then kind of just the decline ever since. What do you see?
I mean, I always thought it was recruiting first. We're recruiting, and obviously the better players you can get in there, the better the program is going to be. So I mean, you always want to get the best players you can get. Coaching wise, you always want to have someone that feeds the fire into these players. You know what I'm saying? That can teach them, that can get them better, that can make them improve, that can actually teach them the system that can make them productive players for the organization, for the team, or for the squad. You know what I'm saying? You want to bring in a coach that's able to help the kids develop over the years, not just on the court but off the court, school wise, and that's what we have with Gary. You know, Gary was that type of coach.
Gary's going to fall under one of the things that I would file Gary under the things that I didn't appreciate until it was gone. So, as a Maryland fan and living here in the DMV, the amount of NBA talent that's bred here, that we never got it.
Right.
So, as a Gary fan, Gary's players were typically Alani or Juan or Steve. So, you know, they're going to be in the lower end of the rankings.
Right.
They're going to be there for 4 years, learn the system, run the system, and by the junior and senior year, we're going to be a threat. So, I used to always be like, man, we there's so much talent right here.
Right.
We're not getting the talent. And it used to be heartbreaking. Like, man, you know, KD's going to Texas. This person's going to Ty Lawson's going here. Nolan's going to Duke. And it's like, man, I used to be really mad at Gary for not getting the talent. And it was like, I felt like, right. And I felt like we had teams that were just not as talented. We played, now he would take a Gary Neal, these random kids, and have them playing above their head. And every year we're going to beat a Duke. We're going to beat a UNC. No matter how sorry the team is, you're going to do that. Then I was like, man, we just got to get better talent. Then we get Gary leaves, and then now we're getting talent. We're getting top 5. We're getting top 5 guys, top 10 guys, McDonald's guys, and all of this. And then now I'm watching our talented team lose to teams that have less talent on it. And to be honest with you, that hurts more than watching that. Like when there's been Maryland teams that I take to court and I say all 5 of our guys are better than that, everybody on that team, and we lose, and that hurts.
Yeah, I mean that's very disappointing it
is. It hurts.
As an alumni, as a fan, you know, when you know your talent is better than the other team, but for some reason we're not getting this win, or we're not playing the way we're supposed to play or capable of playing, and we're not getting this win, and that goes to, like I say, to the bench, the coaching. Sometimes you got to be able to motivate, inspire, you know, and get your players to buy into the system to where, you know, every night you're going out there and busting your butt. If somebody's not busting their butt, you got to be able to get on them. The players got to be able to get on each other. And that's what I wanted to say. Like last year when I came to watch a few games, nobody's on the court getting on each other. Like when we played, everybody was able to get on each other. Nobody took anything personal. You know, at the end of the game, we were all still cool. Nobody was mad at each other, you know what I'm saying? But we was all out there able to patrol each other. And I don't see that a lot in basketball, period, anymore. Like college basketball, nowhere. Like, you know, somebody mess up, you know, everybody's relying on the coach. And the players have to play a part in it too, out there on the floor policing each other. So, I mean, we can ask the coach to keep cussing us out, but at the same time, you know, we got to police each other out there on the court.
Something's just, the last person I remember like that in Maryland that was like Revis. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Like, you know, man, this say I'm taking over. We're doing this. Get on my back. Let's do this.
Yep.
And I feel like we haven't had that since Grievous. And it's been disappointing because the talent has been there.
Right.
And as a person who, I remember just always being like, we need this talent. We need it. And then we started getting. We got Diamond Stone. We got Rodney. We got McDonald's kids. And, you know, we got Mello Tremble. And then the win, it's worse than we were before, and that
goes back to development too. That's what I was talking about earlier about development. I mean, you got to be able to develop these kids year in and year out to where they're not just stagnant with how they came in. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way they came in sophomore year, they're playing the same way. Junior year, they're playing the same way. See, like when I came in, my freshman year I played one way. My sophomore year was a different. I'm pretty much a totally different game. You know what I'm saying? If I would have stuck around, it probably would have added more to it. But I mean, that's what you have to be able to do, and that's because Gary, you know, put us in situations where we were able to be developed as players.
Last year, me and you went to what was it, a Michigan game?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
It was Wisconsin.
One of these games where I think it was Michigan State, maybe. I think it was Michigan State.
Okay.
And they were ranked like 4th or 5th or something like that. And they honored all you guys and all the former players. And I'm sitting there with you and Lonnie and Johnny and that field, those to have all that and Mouton and Chris Wilcox, and it's like what I'm feeling and the energy I'm feeling from sitting with you guys is not matching what I'm feeling over there. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching Lonnie's upset about plays, but the people on the court aren't upset about the plays.
That's what I'm saying.
and it's like the vibe just didn't feel like Maryland brand of basketball. I'm not here to bash. I'm just telling you what I feel.
Right. Like,
sitting with you guys and watching that product, and we're all a group of guys who love Maryland basketball.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's the and that's tough to watch. I mean, especially guys that when you play the game and you know the game, and you know like that championship team, like Chris Wilcox and Juan and all those guys, they will get on each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They would get on each other, and there was no hard feelings about it. They would get on each other, talk, you know what I'm saying, get just to motivate and get the guys going. When you see the score, a team's on a run, somebody got to say something. And when we sit on the sideline, we see teams going to run. We don't see nobody on the court saying anything. Nobody. We just taking a run. You know, as former players and people like you said who love Maryland basketball, man, we want to see that. I want to see that dog out there and be like, man, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's get this thing going. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have, that was something that we didn't see.
It doesn't look like it's in our DNA.
Right.
It doesn't look like it's in the. We grew up with the Sweat, Gary Sweat. You remember the name?
Like, yeah, exactly. You know,
Gary's going. We're up 20, and Gary's going crazy.
Still, exactly.
Gary's going crazy, and it's just like that intensity was from Gary to you guys to us, to the fans. You know what I mean? It was
down. Yep.
You know, so it was like that's what we were, and it just seems like we're at Starbucks, you know what I mean? It's like just a casual, you know what I mean? It's like you're watching the game on your iPad, you know what I mean? It's just like, guys, we lost this one, you know, and maybe next time. Oh, maybe not next time either.
What your head coach bring to the table can definitely feed down to what you bring to what you're doing out there on the floor. Like we knew that if we out there messing up, coach is gonna get on us when we get to the sideline. So in order to avoid that, we're going to get on each other out here.
and there's pros coming through the program.
Right.
Every year.
Yes.
It hurts, man. You know how much I love Maryland basketball, and obviously you as well. And it's just, I hope that something changes and that we can get back to where we are. I mean, it's another season, and, you know, you want to be optimistic that things are going to be, get better. But I would love to see that, and I'd love to see more of you guys, more of the former players around.
Right.
Lonnie's in the area. Yourself's not too far away, and you're always willing to help. Mouton's right here.
Right.
I'd like to see more of that, and maybe that gets the culture back into Maryland basketball.
Right. Exactly. That's something I'm always open for. I mean, to come back and whether I got to mentor some of the guys or help them develop or whatever I got to do, just to help the program, continue to strive and continue to get better, man. That's all we're all about. You know what I'm saying? All this former players, all this alumni, that's all we're all about. Is better in the program, and then, whether it's hands-on with us or, whether it's a letter or whatever we got to write, you know what I'm saying? Or come in and speak to the guys, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be, I think we're all willing to do it.
What is the one thing that you'll take away from your NBA, or give me 2 or 3 things from your NBA career that you'll take away that you'll tell your grandkids about one day, whether it be, I played with Kobe, LeBron, and Kate, or, I did battle, I played against Magic, maybe I played 16 years, I guarded Shaq. What are some of the things that you'll be like, man, I did this and nobody can ever take that away from me?
Right, I mean, first, number one pick. Yeah, exactly.
That's a fraternity. I was telling my kids when I was explaining them to who you were, and you try to raise your kids to know their history. And I said, that's Joe Smith. He was the number 1 pick in the draft. And I said, okay, hold on. The number 1 pick in the draft. I said, Michael Jordan was the number 1 pick in the draft. They said, he wasn't.
Right.
No.
That's what people don't understand.
I said, no,
exactly.
The number 1 pick in the draft, that means there's only one of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they're like, okay, like, Michael Jordan wasn't. No. You know what I mean? The number 1 pick in the draft, there's only one of them every single year. That is a fraternity that nobody can take away from you.
Exactly. That's something that,
And that's back in the day when it was real, not this.
Right.
Now, that little stretch where they're just grabbing whoever the hottest high school kid was.
Right,
and
exactly.
No. This is number 1 draft pick means you earned that.
Exactly. And that's why it's something, that I will always, grandkids, what I would always bring up to them. Because, when they do their research and do their history and see what type of players and that came out during that draft and see what type of careers those guys had, they'd be like, man, Grandpa was a
And in the
Grandpa
league
was
with
for
Grant
real.
Hill and Tim Duncan
Yes,
and Rasheed
exactly.
Wallace and that, like Grandpa led the league
Yeah,
in these
exactly.
things.
Grandpa
like,
was real. Yeah, Grandpa had a little game or something.
Absolutely,
yeah, so
absolutely.
I mean that and my 16-year career. I mean, just explaining them how I was able to make my adjustments as I went along, from team to team, going from, like you said, the go-to guy to going from a role player that's still productive, but and has a big role on the team, but not that go-to guy. Being able to transition my game and develop and still be productive. That's another thing, and.
I mean, I think just that in itself. I mean, 16
Yeah.
years is so much. I mean, again, I think that the list of players. At the end of the day, you can literally say that you have been teammates with two of the top 10 players of all time.
Right.
3 of the top 20 players
Right.
of all time, and you can make a case that you have played against probably 10 of the top 20 players of
Right.
all times.
Right, and that's why I look back on my career now, man. And a lot of people ask me, because of all the teams I played for, do I look back on my career as a fault or anything? I'm like, no. Like I appreciate what I did through my career, man. I was able to play in different places, get accustomed to different customs. I mean, cultures and stuff like that. And that's something that a lot of people don't experience. And I really appreciated that, and appreciated the opportunity just to be able to play and show my talents, in so many different places, and create a fan base and build a fan base in all types of pockets around the country. That's something a lot of people, can't really do.
What's next for Joe Smith? What are you doing now, and what's next?
I got my basketball academy, Joe Smith Basketball Academy now. So I just do skills and development.
That's down in Atlanta?
That's down in Georgia, yeah,
Georgia,
right outside of Atlanta, yeah. So do skills and development with kids and basketball players of all ages, boys and girls, and that's what I love to do. I mean, I get a kick out of it, I get a joy out of it. Seeing these kids develop and seeing their confidence build is something I really get a joy out of now.
You want to do any coaching?
I thought about it, but I really enjoy the skills and development part. A lot of kids are missing just the fundamentals of the game.
Yes, yes, they are.
And that is what I'm trying to bring back to the game. Like coaching, I don't get to be as hands on as I am with the development that I do now. So I enjoy that.
What about even as the big man today isn't the same big man that you
Exactly.
were playing with?
Right.
So I mean, it's an evolution of the big man, and now they're at the 3-point line.
Yeah.
And
Nobody's playing with their back to the basket.
what do you think of that?
No jump hooks, no hook shots.
Yeah. I mean, do you see some of these stretches and be like, man, I would love to get in there and show him how to do this?
Oh yeah,
some
down, man,
footwork,
definitely. I
some-
mean, it's because you see some bigs when they do get the ball with their back to the basket, they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
They just stand there, they just hold it, don't know what to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, it's just a simple. I mean, and it's all about just the angles and being able to work the angles on the block, and that's something the footwork, and that's something I definitely want to be able to help with some of these guys. I mean, I would probably do it more with guards now than big men. You know what I'm saying? Because guards then post up more. They're in the paint more than post up more than big men nowadays. Because if we are spotted up at the 3-point line, so I'll probably work with guards and post more than big men nowadays.
Absolutely. Where do you fall on the Kobe LeBron debate?
Oh man,
Both former teammates.
yeah. Like I usually don't get involved with it. I usually because it's like it's like one of those. You can go either way with it. It depends on what type of basketball you like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
If you had to go one way.
because I grew up a Magic fan, I would say LeBron.
Oh, you threw. I thought you were going to say because I grew up a Magic fan, Laker fan, Kobe. I thought you was going to go
LeBron's
that
game
because he's similar
To Magic, yeah. And Kobe's game is similar to Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense. A Magic fan over a Jordan
Yeah.
fan. So okay, so that would definitely make sense.
Yeah.
Best player in the game today.
Today, I would say LeBron.
Really,
I
still
would say yeah.
Greek
Yeah.
Freak. KD.
Now that's what I forgot about. Oh my God. Yeah, I would go. Yeah, I don't think nobody's better. Than
Kawhi?
Greek Freak. No, Greek Freak. I forgot all about it. I watched him play. Every time I watch him play, he amazes me.
He looks like the point guard version of Shaq, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Like you're just that physically dominant at the guard
Oh
position.
my God, it's like he's ridiculous. I like his. Yeah, I love his game. I love his game.
He takes 2 dribbles from the 3-point line, and somehow it looks like he's playing on a 7-foot
Nerf
basket.
ball. That's what I said.
It's like he's on a 7-foot basket.
I said that a couple weeks ago. He drove for the wing, and next thing you know, he was dunking it, but it was like all this was going.
it's like he's playing on with a Nerf ball on a 7-foot basket.
Exactly. I'm like, man, I forgot about the Greek Freak. Yeah,
It really, like I said, it looks like Shaq as a guard version. You know what I mean? Like that physical dominance. And that's why when people are like, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, it's like, when he gets a 3, I'm like, I'm not so sure that's coming. Like,
I don't think he don't need it.
I mean, the easy he gets to the basket,
he doesn't need it.
I'm like, I'm not so sure that 3 is coming. You know what I mean? He's so dominant physically.
Like, he doesn't.
And he's just going to get stronger.
If he develops a 3, I mean, that's obviously going to help. But he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. I mean, mid range, attacking the basket. I seen he got good touch around the basket, even without dunking. I mean, just the layups and finger rolls. I seen one time another situation where he beat up guy off the wing and his finger roll from outside the block. You know what I'm saying? He's a tough talent.
If Anthony Davis could ever play 80 games, I think he answers that debate as well.
AD is a great talent too.
He just can't stay healthy.
That's the only thing about it.
And I think that's because he's frail. I mean, you played 80 games several times as a KG played 82 games for some ridiculous, like 10 years in a row.
Exactly.
As skinny as they come.
Exactly.
Tayshaun Prince, I want to say at one point was an Iron Man.
Yeah, he went on a nice streak. Yeah,
and he's got to be one of the skinniest players who ever lived. So I don't know. I just look at Anthony Davis and I see that, and I saw Porzingis the other day go for a layup. He got fouled. He comes down. Every time he touches the ground, I think he's about to snap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think
it just looks frail and long and skinny.
Yeah. And some of our pain, some people's pain tolerance, they just can't play through it. And and with my guys in my class and things we played through a lot of stuff. Like everybody was played through some injuries and stuff like that. And nowadays, everybody's
as soon as you get nicked up,
they taking games off just to take games off nowadays. That was never happening.
Yeah.
That was never happening. You know what I'm saying? You would play the game. If you needed a day off, you'd take the practice off the next day or something like that to rest your body. But now they're taking 2-3 games off now. And I'm like, that's unheard of.
I'm with you on that.
That's unheard of.
I'm with you on that. Man, Joe, I just want to say thank you again, man. It was a pleasure to have you on, man. Always been and the thing is, like, while we won a national championship in 2002, like myself, while you're the reason that I went to Maryland, I'm sure that if Lonnie, Juan, it's the same sort of, they're going to tell you the same story. Like, when's the first time you heard Maryland basketball? Joe Smith.
Right.
The same way you say Len Byatt, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, you are a part of Maryland basketball history way past what you did on the court in your time there.
That.
You put us on the map, and it's not a coincidence that just 7 years later, we're winning a national championship. You know what I mean? And you mean so much to Maryland basketball, and I hope that they found a way to get you in there, get some of that blood back into the program, man. And
like I said, I would love to come back and help as much as whatever I can do.
And it's been a pleasure having you, man. You've always been a first class and just a great guy. I appreciate everything you've done for me and the program and everything, man. You've had a great career and all of that.
Appreciate that, Mark.
Thanks
for having me.
And you guys, thanks for checking us out. And there's the great Joe Smith.